Ready?
We're hanging out on the Money Morons podcast.
Yes, we are.
Don't know if mine's live yet.
Wisdom.
All right, I'm live. Is everyone live?
I believe I am. Let me see.
I'm live. My display capture is all messed up because I'm a fool, because I'm a moron.
Money Morons, baby. Technical difficulties, at least a bare minimum, once a stream.
Oh, man.
Hopefully mine doesn't lag.
There we go.
Yeah, we only start after the like button's been smashed. It's the rules of engagement.
Destroyed.
We need 100% likes
Smashing
on everything.
Can people on my stream let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right, if the video is all right, all of that sort of stuff? Because as you know, I'm completely useless at this.
Window capture, display capture. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Oh, notifications. This one out, baby. There we go.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it. I haven't been. I mean, I keep up a little bit, of course, but that's not something that's my strong suit. So I'll let y'all handle an AMC conversation. I can moderate.
Apparently you guys are echoing. I don't know how to stop that from happening because obviously you're coming through my speaker. Maybe if I turn the speaker down.
If you have time, you can go to OBS. You can add a filter to your audio input device. That'll be a noise suppression filter, and it should stop the echo.
I would always love a noise suppression filter on Connor. Can we put that?
Oh, that's so mean. Yeah, we should use headphones because that would stop the lagging. That would stop the because yeah, everyone's saying to use headphones. The problem is with headphones is I don't have any that plug in, so they'll just run out. Can I just use normal headphones?
Maybe so.
I have headphones. Let's see what I got.
Wait, I'm gonna try.
Well, guys, it's just us and it's me and all these chairs here, fellas. Well, how's everyone doing today? This is me talking to all my imaginary friends. Oh, there we go. Hey. We're gonna get everything started in a second, everybody. You guys know we have our typical daily technical difficulties here. It's no surprise.
Yeah, I'm completely useless, so don't hate me.
Just make sure that wearing headphones doesn't mess up your display capture or the audio grab from your screen itself, because people might not be able to hear you. Or me,
actually, I'll rock without the headphones.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But is there a way I can just? Yeah, literally, it's just not working. How's the echo? Is everyone's echo any better now?
I'm gonna check your stream real quick, Connor. Come on, Sam, you can do better than that.
I think it's better if I have my mic away from you guys. Let me try.
Just put your microphone in the other room. That'll probably be better for the stream anyway.
Just put myself in the other room.
It's a great idea.
Have you been watching on your Trace Trades? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bro, freaking Trace Trades. I remember with Trey, when my channel got hacked, he was actually like amongst the group who helped me get it back. And he has been sticking to AMC like glue for the last few months. Even when it was dying down, like he was sticking to it. And now his channel just blew up like another 100K subs. I'm so happy for him. But
yeah. I saw you being shouted out by his channel from when you got hacked.
So speaking of AMC, while we're at it, I will kind of leave this one a little bit more to Sam, because I personally have only ever, like, I had like $50 in the AMC, and that was it, you know. But I know Sam has been paying closer attention to it, Sam. So like, what do you think the state of AMC is in the sense of, do you think that there's still some upward momentum? Did we kind of see its peak? How are you gauging the interaction with the crowd? Do people still seem excited? What you think we're seeing from AMC right now? Right. 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 And that's kind of the crazy part, right? Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not really been around the short squeeze scene, very long. I mean, I was obviously involved with GME a little, but correct me if I'm wrong, but as it continues to go upwards, as more people start to bet that it is going to go down, as they start to short it, shorting it and increasing that short volume only makes the squeeze stronger up to a certain extent, right? Or am I off there? Right. Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
Let me say one thing. I just got a message. I don't think your audio is on your live stream, Sam. I think maybe when your headphones plugged in or something, it might have cut your audio.
My audio seems
Sam
to only be coming. God, oh.
Headphones is what it is.
They shorted his computer.
Spend some of that YouTube money and get yourself a real set of headphones, for God's sakes.
Right. So Right.
They're giving like a thumbs up over here.
I don't know if my audio is working.
One thing that I have been seeing a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of the question I had. So I've been seeing a lot personally in the sense of we saw the GameStop short squeeze happen in February or January, February, March, whatever. And we saw, I mean, that thing took off. I mean, that thing was up in the way high hundreds, you know, seeing astronomical gains. The question I have for you is just kind of you've seen both of these. You saw GameStop and then you're seeing the AMC, and you've been paying close attention. I personally have not, so I don't want to, you know, give my opinion. Do you think that the AMC price itself could potentially see a meteoric rise as high as GameStop went, or do you think that that was a kind of a once in a couple years type of thing, and this one would probably be good, but not as extreme as we saw from GameStop? That's a question just kind of your opinion, at least, you know.
Sorry, I'm fighting with the sound again.
Yeah, I can't tell. I cannot tell if I'm getting. I think your sound is just coming through my mic rather than it being captured in the audio. But if I turn anything else on, then it doesn't. Nothing happens.
Okay, I think.
Oh wait.
People are saying they can hear me now. Okay, no more headphones ever again. We're banning those. Oh, now someone says. Okay. So Tyler, you're saying, do you think we can go as high as GameStop?
Right, basically. Like, do you think it could be a rise as extreme as we saw that, or is it more of a kind of like a secondary type of growth that we're seeing now?
No, I think it could be higher. I mean, of course, I'm not financial advisor, all that kind of stuff, but I think in January, I don't think a lot of people knew what was going on, and some people did. Sure, like there was a community around it, but we hadn't seen this happen before. So now, like everyone's kind of been gearing up. At least this is what I've been hearing. Because I mean, like Trey's channel, Matt's channel, like those people have been watching the same videos, like AMC videos, for months now, gearing up for this. And like people are making millions of dollars on this, and they're still not selling. So I mean, you always have to be careful because you don't want to be the person that's buying at the top, right? Like the person that's like at $250. Sweet, let's buy in, and then it falls because eventually, like AMC is not going to be at $50 probably in 6 months or a year from now, most likely, because the company's just not worth that much. But it's not about fundamentals, and everyone knows that right now. So it's kind of just a battle. I think we could see it, but it's just going to be a question of, you know, if everyone can hold the line enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. Because I was eyeing it, you know, I saw it moving, and we all, even though we tell people don't FOMO in, like I was looking at it, and I was like I want to know what happens. You know, I didn't go crazy. Like I was like, man, this thing could do this. You know, everyone was like, it's going to go to 100, blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking about putting money in, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just sit on the side. I'm away. We got enough going on in the crypto world by ourselves than to be worried about that. But one thing I will say was interesting, and kind of an interesting perspective, that it kind of confirmed what I initially thought. You know, whenever we've talked about on these streams before, you know, we've said things along the lines of like the penny stock crowd, the GME crowd, the AMC crowd. They translated or transitioned a lot into the crypto world, right, with a lot of meme coins. Mm-hmm. I noticed that was confirmed because as soon as AMC started popping off, my same crowd who likes my crypto videos wanted me to talk about AMC as well. Yeah. And so I've noticed kind of like that transition of like everyone looking for that next big trend. And I think as we keep going forward, like these big trends are going to just continue to keep popping up. So it's definitely interesting to pay attention to, you know, to know that these are within the same crowds, you know, but I guess the issues with that does come with the volatility we see from a freaking joke meme tweet from Elon that sends the whole market down to the ground, which was annoying. But
yeah. I know, I'm just like, please stop tweeting. I was like, just stop doing that. Just stop doing that. Because it's terrible for all of us and all of our audiences, and for literally every single person in crypto. That's what I keep on explaining on my videos, is that the market cap for crypto in general is still so low if you look at it versus like even like the real estate market in the US or versus the equity market or whatever. So all these like these little news pieces that seem so obscure and so like kind of like off the wall can affect the market majorly, you know, like a massive outsized effect. And it's not a mental model that you're like used to operating under, because you're like, oh, I'm used to like big news, not even affecting the stock market. I was like, well, you can't look at it like that because this is an unregulated market in crypto, completely unregulated. It's like pure kill or be killed out there. And one little piece of news can have this massive effect on everything. So I just don't think it's like natural to think about it in that way, but it's so true. That's why I cover those things on the channel so much.
Yeah.
I still think that it's just crazy that the market is affected by his tweets. But what I was saying in my video today is I think that what's happening now is it might have even moved from people actually getting spooked into people being like, well, the price is going to drop, so I'm going to short the market, or I'm going to sell and buy back. Like, it's like a perpetual cycle that's now never going to end, because whether or not it's people really panicking or people who are actually like, I'm just going to capitalize on this because I've missed out every other time, right? So it's like I might as well short the market, or I might as well sell and buy back, because every time he's done it, it's gone down, right? So, but it's just, I just can't get my head around, like, you know, I was all for Elon up until this point, and I'm like, I cannot get my head around what it is. Like, you know, there's still 25 to 50% of me that thinks that he's got a master plan, right? There's something going on. What is he doing? Because you know, he tweets every time at moments of resistance. You know,
I know.
Or support or something, right? Because we're all watching it, and it doesn't seem random. It seems too planned. You know, like the whole Bitcoin market is watching that point of resistance in the triangle, right? And we're like, right, this is it. It's the breakout point. The second we break out, you know, whether or not we're thinking it's a fake out or whatever it is, that's when he tweeted, right? At that exact moment. Wasn't before it, wasn't after it. So it's like,
I get frustrated because, you know, I think about it along these lines, and this is what I talked about in the video this morning is, sure, he could have some master plan, or he's just accumulating like crazy. Every time we're about to get close, he's doing this, or he has buddies, or there's some type of manipulation going on for his own personal or company or a private business, you know, or something along that nature. But I spoke about it in the terms of this, which is something that I hope he understands. He might understand this and not just care. But I think about it along these lines, right? People steadily say that, you know, like, one of the things that can really take this thing mainstream is once we even see more of an influx from not institutional investors who are going to be like just manipulating the market as we have seen, but big money, you know, big money, smart money, those investors who people really respect, who just continue. We've been seeing it a lot, but we're only just breaking surface with it, you know? And I think about it along these lines, like, how can a company, how can a big business, how can someone along those lines say, you know, want to get into a market that can be moved 10% off of a tweet of a meme and 2 emojis that gets dropped off 10%, whether people are selling or whether people are just shorting it due to the fact the anticipation that other people will sell. I feel like it's almost hard to kind of take the crypto market serious sometimes because you see it fall and move so much over something so simple, you know? And then I think about Bitcoin from a long-term perspective is we all say that Bitcoin is digital gold. It's a store of value. But then it's kind of hard to make that argument to someone who doesn't know anything about it, because they say, well, how much of a store of value is it really if it's dropping 10% off of a tweet that's pretty random and out the blue, you know? And that's where my struggles come in, because sure, he could have this plan where he's trying to do good for Bitcoin in the long term, but I feel like it has its ripple effects into other aspects of society in which people may think like, I can't take crypto serious, or if I really want to store my value, I'll put it into something much less risky or much less volatile that won't be moved off of something so small. You know what I mean? Like, that's the issues that I have, and it bothers me to my core.
Let me ask you guys this though. I think we keep on thinking about like Bitcoin as digital cash, right? I mean, everyone calls it digital gold, but when you're talking about it on a balance sheet, they're converting their cash into it. So I guess you could call it either. But there are companies like Berkshire Hathaway that put tens of billions of dollars in other stocks, right? And those could be manipulated by 10, 20%. If someone says, hey, we're shorting whatever, or maybe not 10%, but they have a bad earnings. JP Morgan falls down 10%, or Coca-Cola stops growing and they fall down. People don't want to buy them because some sugar report comes out or something. I don't know. But I guess there's a difference because they are business models as opposed to something that's only backed, I guess, by utility, and a lot of it is sentiment. So do you think that eventually there will be some companies that are like, hey, with 10% of our holdings, we're going to just buy Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, and we're going to make like an ETF like Berkshire Hathaway has, because the whole company is based around like companies that they own. So like just an ETF of different cryptos in their own holdings.
I think I think it's coming. I think it'll happen eventually. And one thing I did want to say that too. Like, I guess the only difference that I kind of see with that though, in terms of manipulation, in the sense of like something along those lines, is I feel like it's much easier for there to be a fundamental change within a company that causes manipulation. Like, say if the earnings don't do well and earnings aren't going well, or there's some sugar report that could be detrimental to the value of the product. That'll hurt it at its foundation. That'll hurt it fundamentally. And then it's more of a justified reason to see the price fall. Whereas, like, in comparison to this, what he said really didn't have anything. It didn't change Bitcoin or the outlook of Bitcoin or the overall use of it. So I think that's the kind of like the difference I see. But I definitely think an ETF and that overall adoption of within the investment world of that sort it's going to happen eventually. I mean, I'd be very surprised if it doesn't,
There's ETFs in Canada right now. It's just like they can't get an approval. They can't get any approval to happen here in the US. And it's just like, I completely agree. Like it's coming. And kind of humble with that a penny stock that I used to cover a lot more, TSNP, and then it went to Humble. Is anyone familiar? And so they launched that kind of basically like an ETX, which was an ETF for crypto for the most part. And I'm surprised that hasn't gotten like more traction. I think it's cool. And I think it's like, I'm sure they're probably skirting some sort of regulation that they should probably have, but it's a great idea. And like, that's something that, I mean, I would absolutely throw my money in. And I think you would see, like, you're right. I think you'd see those bigger companies taking some of the cash from their balance sheet and putting it into that to act like a bond. Because, if you think inflation's coming, you're not buying treasury bonds. You're just not.
You know what I think with that? Why it may not be gaining traction is something I considered last night, actually. So think about whenever we saw like the stock market itself, when penny stocks were exploding and making 100-200% gain was pretty easy in the stock market, right? I mean, like we could do that. Me and Sam, we were knocking those at least 3 or 4 times a week, where we'd have 100-200% gain on something. And we think like in that time, we saw the bigger players, right? Like we saw ETFs in general, we saw indexes, and we even saw those bigger ones that weren't moving so well or moving slower lose popularity. I think the reason we're not seeing ETFs or ETXs, as you said, gain so much traction is because they're boring right now to people. What I think it'll take is once there is a more overall adoption from investors who like, maybe like, let's think of Graham Stephan, who doesn't really dabble in individual stocks as much, rather just puts money into like big index and just lets it go. Once people understand that aspect of crypto, that there is that ability to have something a little bit more stable, even like stable coins or something, like I think that's the case. But I think right now everything's so hyped and it's easy to make money, there's no reason, like people don't see the appeal of it. And I think once the market slows down a little bit, we're not seeing all these big explosions out of nowhere, then I hope that we see that adoption, because that would be big, like that would be a great next step to establish some credibility for crypto, just in my opinion.
I can't fault anybody because I haven't bought a Vanguard index fund in a hot minute, like I'm like, oh, let's buy this, but that has been the last thing on my mind to buy recently. Right. And I believe in it so fundamentally to buy Vanguard index funds too, but I'm just like, nope, I'd rather do something fun.
Yeah.
Because daddy's trying to get a yacht. So
yeah. How cool would that be if you bought into like, I don't know, some platform that has a Binance top 10 or something, top 10 cryptos, and like all the stable coins give you like 9%. So it's like the yield is like 2 or 3% on the top 10 cryptos, and they stake them for you and like all this other stuff. That would be so sick to buy into a dividend ETF and get like a 4% yield every month. That would be insane. People put so much money in that.
For sure it's coming. They just need to decide how to regulate it.
Do you think that they'll like stake it and give you interest and stuff like that? Because I've known that there are ETFs coming, but I haven't really thought about that as much, and that could add a lot of fuel to the fire.
I guess it depends on if by the top 10 they would include Tether, right? Like, because is there another stable coin in the top 10?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so it just depends on the allocation that they would give Tether, or if they would just take it out, right?
Yeah,
but I think that would be awesome. I think it would be awesome to have a slight allocation to that, and then it's staked, right? That'd be a driving factor to get people to invest in it. And especially if you could invest into these ETFs through something like, whatever, Webull or something, right?
Yeah.
And it would like, and it's like, it's not safe. Obviously it's not safe because it's crypto, right? Or it's any investment, but it would give people a lot more, that same sort of feeling when you're investing in a ETF, because I think one of the main things that keeps people away from Sorry, there's just everything wrong with my with my stream. I think one of the main things that keeps everyone away from the cryptocurrency market is the fact that they like, obviously it's actually not the case. Like there's not much to understand, right? But people are so put off by even opening a Coinbase account because they think it's going to be hard because it's something new, right? Even though it's just as easy to open up a Coinbase account as it is to open up a Webull account, for example. But I think having that access to it, just like having the access to Dogecoin on eToro makes the price, like people are more interested in investing it because they don't want to leave, right? They want to stay where they are. So giving them that option that makes it like an easy bridge is definitely going to help the entire market. And I just think it's a matter of time. But also just touching on what you were saying about Elon being able to manipulate Bitcoin and that putting off potential people coming over to the market, right? What I think is actually, if he tweeted about any small publicly traded company, I say small, in comparison to what Bitcoin is, like a medium-sized company. If he tweeted about any of those companies, I guarantee you the price would fall by 10%. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it wasn't Elon that created the 50% drop. It was, he just happened to start it, right? How I see it, as if the narrative where manipulation is, can you still not hear me? If the narrative where the manipulation is the thing that happened, right? We have many different ideas as to what's going on, but if that narrative is the correct one or is what's going on, people jump on board, right? They see he's created the FUD. All right, it's a perfect time to jump on board now. So then all of the other things happen, at the same time, which was what created the 50%, not simply Elon's tweets. Like his opinion has a 10% weighing on the market, but not a 50% weighing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I think the only difference that I kind of feel there is that I agree. Like, I think if he was defined, I mean, we've seen it in the past. He accidentally tweeted a ticker back in the day, and I think it sent it up like 100%. I think that is the case. But more of my point is not necessarily the effect it's had on Bitcoin. If we're comparing Bitcoin relative to, something like Apple, or if we're comparing it to other companies, like whenever it just comes to pure market cap, pure size, but more of in consideration of the entire market itself, because I don't believe that if Elon tweeted about Apple and said he was never going to use Apple again, and being that Apple is one of the biggest companies in the entire stock market, that we would see the entire stock market tank. You know what I mean? Whereas we see so many altcoins follow Bitcoin that when he talks about Bitcoin and it sends it down, it'll send pretty much every other altcoin down with it. And so that's kind of where it makes me nervous because of the ripple effect. You know what I mean?
But it's a timing factor, right? Like in comparison to the rest of the market, Bitcoin and crypto's tiny. It might seem large. Yeah. It is a significant amount of money, don't get me wrong. But in comparison to your conventional assets, it's much smaller, right? Like we're definitely on our way up. But at this point, we're still a small fish, a tiny little fish. So obviously, if Elon Musk, who has, however many followers, however much sway on the market, says something negative about something comparatively small, right? It's going to have a sway. If he came out and said something about another electric vehicle company or some company worth the same, I do think it would have a sway. And then the only reason why he's affecting the entire market is because at the position where we are right now, everything is pegged to Bitcoin, right? I think that will change. I think that will change over time. But where we are,
great point.
So where we are at our infancy, we're 9 years in or 10 years in or whatever it is, right? It's we're still at our infancy, and Bitcoin is the big player, right? So everything is pegged to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin crashes, everything crashes. But that's not something that I see staying the norm. That's not to say that Bitcoin won't continually be around. I think Bitcoin has a place, a place for digital gold. But it being the dominant deciding factor in essentially everything, I think will change. So Elon will always have sway on the market, for example, or an Elon character will always have sway on the market, but it might not necessarily be the Bitcoin that he's affecting next time, or, in 5 years, let's say. I just don't think Bitcoin will have that same sway. So it seems like he has such a big sway only because he does on Bitcoin, right? Which affects everything else.
Yeah. And I think what we're looking at with Bitcoin dominance itself continuously being on a downtrend, I think that even supports what you're saying too. Like, we're seeing Bitcoin slowly lose its it's like, I mean, it's pretty like just the word itself, it's dominant. It's like how much of the overall market cap in comparison to how much of Bitcoin is owned. I mean, it's falling. You know what I mean? So I think as that continues forward and more altcoins come out, hopefully we can see Bitcoin not have so much of an effect. Like Connor said, and I agree. I think that comes eventually. You know, I was just kind of more focused, I guess, on the short term. But there's one thing I wanted to circle back to that I wanted all of your opinions on, because it was a point that it kind of just popped into my head. It's something that I had seen in the past. So you guys know how you can like buy Bitcoin on Robinhood. You can like buy Bitcoin, but you don't really have access to the coin itself. Like you're not actually buying a Bitcoin. I wonder if we were to see some type of ETF or something along those lines, if that would kind of sway your hardcore crypto investors / owners off, because at that point they're only just banking that the cryptos themselves go up rather than actually using them as currencies. You know what I mean? I wonder if that, I have no idea. That's kind of just a little thought.
I think that's a great point, but I think that the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency ETF isn't for me, for example, right? It's not for me. I'm not going to buy a cryptocurrency ETF. It's not going to happen. But like for the same reason why I like to pick my own stocks, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. I'm so actively involved in my investments that's what I want, right? So like I don't want you to tell me I'm only investing in the top 100, top 100, whatever it is, you know, these type of stocks, you know, platform based crypto is our ETF, whatever it is. I don't want that, because I want to pick my own crypto. But my dad, if he's watching, I don't know, may very well not want to bother, you know. He just genuinely, like, because he believes in the market, right? But maybe he doesn't want to look into all of these different coins, you know, that, like, you know, if it pops into the top 10, cool, he gets exposure to it. If not,
right,
it's a hands-off investment. So yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't think the ETF is ever going to be for the hardcore crypto fans, right? It's the bridge for the muggles.
So to kind of just not take advantage of, but allow for people who may not necessarily want to dabble in crypto itself, but who do understand the growth potential. They can take advantage of the growth potential without having to dabble in it too much, is what you're saying?
Exactly how your normal guy would want to invest in the overall stock market or the S&P 500, right? Like exactly the same thing. Like they like the idea, they've done a bit of research into Bitcoin, maybe a bit of Ethereum or whatever the coins at that time are. And then they're like, yeah, no, I'm into this. I don't want to go through the hassle of, you know, opening up a Coinbase account, understanding what a wallet address is, you know, all of that. It's like bridging the gap.
Or throwing it into, retirement accounts, right? Because I mean, now you can buy GBTC and some, but there's a fee for it too. I would assume the ETFs would be much lower cost, and maybe some different companies throw that in there, you know, in whatever their company plan is. Like I worked for a regional bank and we had our own versions of everything too. So maybe they throw a little bit of allocation towards that. So it's not 90-10 with bonds being 10%, but maybe 95-5 or something like that. Which who knows if the banks will buy into that idea. But I think the people that are interested in crypto though will be pumped, because there'll be a lot more money flowing into crypto. But yeah, you're not using the ETFs to go transact with or go pay someone for something. To be fair, I don't do that now, really. I don't like sending people crypto because I'm not buying it to go send it to someone else. I'm buying it because I like it as an investment vehicle at this point. But I mean, all of us have gotten paid in crypto before, so it is easy. But is it easier than PayPal or Venmo? I don't really know. I don't necessarily think so, unless you want to convert it to some other crypto at that point.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's still perceived as harder, right? It's like, it's for sure easier than PayPal, because PayPal has so many issues, right? Like the thing PayPal. Also with like an amount, if you're trying to transfer a significant amount, PayPal is inevitably going to give you trouble. Whereas sending me or you or anyone USDT isn't going to give you any trouble. Like if you're buying a car, for example, and it's like commonplace to have a wallet, for example, Trust Wallet, that would be commonplace, you know, and you're like, okay, I'm buying this car, send me, you know, $5,000 USDT. It's instant. And then PayPal can't go, oh no, we reckon this is a scam, so we're going to hold your money for 3 months. So like, it's so needed. And also it replaces cash, but then in a trustless manner, right? I don't have to tell whether or not the cash you're giving me is fake, which relies on me.
Right.
So I think there's like such place for it. It's just like I said, I think we're in infancy of crypto. It seems like we're not, because we're in the middle or the end of a bull market or whatever. Seems like we're not, but we are. It's nothing is on the blockchain yet. There is loads because we know about them, but like no one else knows that the blockchain even exists. It's still tiny.
Do you guys
think these 7 million more people to come into crypto next year? I reported on that article yesterday. 57 million. I think there's 55 million that hold it right now. So like a doubling, if you will, in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We're like when AMC goes from like 9 to 12 and everyone's like, oh crap, is it going to go back down to 11? And it's like just too early. It's just too early.
Right.
Yeah.
Surface level.
We're like, oh crap, it could go down 20% before it goes up 700%. Oh my gosh.
Another thing about the ETF conversation though, is that there's all these, we're looking at it like through the prism of like a retail investor like us, but there's all these institutional investors too, cities, counties, retirement funds, and like all the university endowments, all these big players that make up a large portion of, hedge fund money or money that needs to be around for 20, 30 years. And I think by opening up a way more conservative kind of product in the crypto market, like you'll see a lot more of that money coming into potentially, even if it is like a smaller amount, like you said, Sam, but it would give them an access point that they don't really have right now. You're not going to throw it. If you want something to spit off gradual returns over 30 years, that's not where the money is thinking that it was going to go in crypto right now, But if they add a product like that to address that, I think that would be huge. I mean, that's huge money right there for pension funds and, GE or whatever. Like that's nothing but.
And it has to be coming because, like Connor said, man, it's just so early, and I have genuinely no doubt at all. Like if you take like your Ethereum's 8 of Bitcoin, right? Like those are my top 3. I genuinely feel like you can put money in today. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way. But you can put money in today. No, I'm not at all.
I follow all of his trades, and I have made tons of money.
Step by step. But
reach out to him on WhatsApp or Telegram.
1-8-3. But no, I think that realistically, if you were to put money into any of those top 3, like almost as long as no fundamental changes happen that absolutely just explode, like or blow them up from the inside out, like it's almost a guarantee that we will see crypto grow for the next 30 years. You know what I mean? Like I have no doubt in my mind about it at all. And so I'm more excited about just when we do see something, maybe like Sam says, if they do get that adoption, or if we just, as we continue to see it grow, like, and we see some of these bigger players come in and it's just more of adopted within the more established things such as banks, or as you were talking about cities and just things like that, that establishment of credibility, I think that'll be important to kind of like mitigate a lot of the, oh man, like what even is crypto? Because people look at it now and immediately think it's risky. Right, without even really know. I mean, it is risky, but they don't even know anything about it just because it's new, like Connor said. And so I'm excited to see as it does grow and some of these bigger institutions bring it on and things like that, like how we get more adoption in the sense of, oh, there's actually some credibility behind it because, like Sam said, maybe JP Morgan brought it in or something. But the only thing I see, right now that is an issue with the infancy phase is that as we're seeing something like Bitcoin growing so much, right? I personally don't like sending people Bitcoin as payment. I really don't. I would rather pay you
don't use Bitcoin as payment.
No, because the thing is, like, it could grow so much over the next 10 years. I'm like, I could pay you $1,000 right now, dude. That could be like $10,000 next year. You know what I mean? Like,
but also Bitcoin's rubbish for payments. Like, you wouldn't send someone a bit of gold. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same stuff. Like, that's there's all of these arguments about Bitcoin. It's a rubbish currency. Like, unless they do another solution, right, on top of it, fine. But like, it's a rubbish currency, but that's not like, it's a rubbish currency in the same way gold's a rubbish currency. But like what I was thinking about what you're saying is, I think people are super stressed. Obviously, it's something we talk about so much on our channels. But the reason you're not super stressed about where we're going to go in the future is because you're not overly exposed to the market, right? So it doesn't matter what happens because you've done your research. Like, and it's like we go over this so much, but like, it's genuinely a thing, right? It like, if you're not exposed too much to the market and you, for example, look into ADA, or for example, you look into Ethereum, both have got massive things coming up in the short term, right? But both of which are going to be huge, in my opinion, in 10 years. I don't think the platform of Ethereum is going anywhere. So like, it really doesn't matter at this point where it is. Like, yes, if you had for example, me, I had a plan to buy a flat, right, with some of the gains, because I'm substantially up from where I bought in 2017. And again, like,
that's a house, by the way.
Yeah. But like, it didn't. I decided to keep my money in Bitcoin because more than I want to have this asset of a house. I think Bitcoin's an asset, right, for the long term. But in the immediate short term, you see your portfolio go down, and you're like, that really does suck. And I feel that. I'm not one who sits and goes, I don't care. Like, yeah, it's going down. My portfolio is dropping loads of money. Like, I don't care. But the point is, it's like if you're not overly exposed, right? Even though I'm not overly exposed, so it's not. If Bitcoin crashed to zero, it wouldn't affect my day to day, right? So and I think that's why people get really stressed and are really worried about what's happening, because they're thinking in the next 3 months. But you have to think about these things in the next, 5 years, for example. And obviously that doesn't apply to a hype coin and before they have a utility, but it does apply to long-term assets you've done your research in. So if you don't FOMO into the market, right, when we're at, because we may drop to 20K now, and it's like, just no matter what you do, if you just dollar cost average into the market from when you got into the market, whether or not it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 months ago, today, if you dollar cost into the markets that you fundamentally believe in, right, you'll win, because whether or not it goes to zero or it goes to wherever, you will have just got in, and you're winning in your, like, the stress state that you're in right now, because Bitcoin, because Elon Musk tweeted Bitcoin's down 5-10%, and I'm stressed again, because like that's money that I need in the short term. So I think I don't even know where I was going with that. I just went on a complete tangent, but that's what I think about it.
I know someone donate to a super chat for that wisdom that just came out.
No, Connor, I agree with you, because that's one thing that I don't like about YouTube, is that like you can't make a video talking about like the risks of having too much money in the market. Like I've tried so many times, like just saying, hey, keep some cash on the side. And everyone says it's clickbait or whatever. And they're like, no, invest everything into this. And it's just really hard to get through to people that you'll feel way better and you won't lose out if you have some cash on the sideline. Sure, like if you're going in indexes, just throw your money at it. But like if everything goes up, great, you made money, but like 10% out won't really hurt you that much, and it will put your head on such like a level surface that you won't make rash decisions. And that's one thing that I was talking about, how I've been watching those AMC live streams. Yesterday, AMC fell like 20% at one point, and the guy was just getting railed. And he's like, that's what happens when it falls. Like everyone wants to complain. And I just thought, yeah, that's totally the case. We've seen it like in growth stocks or crypto over like a couple of weeks or a month. But he sees it like within hours. Like people just come out of the woodwork to start railing on you, when the long term is still great. Like it's great if crypto falls today, because if you're selling it, you're stupid or you're over leveraged, and otherwise you should be buying it. And if it falls today, who cares? Like it's not going to affect it at all 10 years from now. I'd love for it to fall down, kind of thing. But everyone, that's where we get flack.
Yeah.
Over leverage is so dangerous. And just pivot, or I'm just going to pivot for a second to that Safe Moon whale watching kind of article Reddit that came out last night that I just like kind of went in on, because it's a quintessential event of over leveraging. Like that's exactly what happens when you over leverage yourself, and Safe Moon, an altcoin, whatever investment you have falls a little bit, then you are way more likely to panic sell, and then you make all those quintessential and classic worst moves, in investing, just to sell at the bottom. Like that's the least thing you want to do. If you are leveraged enough that it will affect how like your mood every hour based off the price, like for me, that's when you're like way too leveraged. Like if you have enough of your net worth in something that you're freaking out every little whim, every little swing, like that's not great. I was over leveraged in real estate at one point, and just like every single day there was some sort of maintenance issue, and I had to spend this money or whatever. And I was like, this is not passive income. Like this is horror. Like this is horrible. Like this is just completely affecting my life. And like, that's not why you invest. You don't invest to, or at least for me personally, I don't invest to be so stressed
I think that's a great yeah. I think that's a great point. Like that, I think people don't think about the amount of stress, and you don't want to be like, we're all in this game because we want to be financially free, right? For lack of a better term. And it's like people don't put enough weight on not being stressed. And like SafeMoon is a great example of people genuinely believing in a thing, right? But like I've always said about taking profits, no one ever became broke taking profits, right? And it's like being militant about an investment is all great if you genuinely believe in it for 5 years, 10 years, you haven't got too much money in it, and it doesn't stress you out if it goes down. But if it was gonna stress you out, you should be taking profits along the way, because that way you can just chill, right? And it's like
so like this is how I've kind of thought about it. This was almost like the first analogy that really made me think, and I think about this for SafeMoon specifically, and I'm glad you said that, Stephen, because so this is how I look at crypto right now. Okay, just as an analogy for something more real world that we can see. So I look at crypto as like the electric vehicle industry. Okay, like if we're gonna say like they're the same. Okay, so let's say electric vehicle industry, we're doing a lot. There's a lot of hype around it. People are excited about it, but realistically, electric vehicles they're kind of popular right now, but the future really lies in the future when there is that regulation behind it. When in 2050, when California, there won't be the sale of any of it, just that type of thing, right? The future lies with, or the potential lies in the future. And I think the same goes to crypto for other reasons. But then we think about, okay, we have our major players. We have our Teslas being our Bitcoin. We have our Neos being our Ethereum. We have those top players that are going to be the first amongst this new hype wave that really capitalize on that explosion. Okay. But again, still, we have the future. So then I look at SafeMoon as a brand new company, right? A brand new company who hasn't even made their car yet, but are starting to put together a bunch of different ideas that are going to make that car different and or better than the rest, that'll give people a reason to buy it. And we're still in the phase, they're still putting the engine together. They're still trying to figure out how they're going to tint the windows. They're still figuring out all of these different things. And so when I see drops like this, I think about it in the sense of, if I thought this car company had a great idea and I bought into it, but then they came out with news saying that they were struggling to make the door automatic locking system work, I wouldn't just immediately sell it because they're doing that. You know what I mean? I'm speculating that they're going to do well in the future. And so that's why whenever I see people panic so much, if there's any slight inconvenience with something like SafeMoon, I'm like, you bought it knowing you were speculating that they would be successful one day. There's going to be problems. I have never, ever seen a company that was successful that didn't have to jump over barrier after barrier, hurdle after hurdle. And it's so crazy just to see so many people anticipating that it'll be such a smooth ride. You know what I mean? And so like when Steven said that, I'm just like, whenever he was talking about it, I'm like, I didn't realize how many people truly do just sell whenever they just see a little bit of a fall, And so Steven's video is fantastic. You have to definitely go check it out, just in general, just shameless plug for my boy, because just the idea, and what Connor said, leverage, right? If you're especially speculating, like if you decide, I'm going to put the majority of my net worth into crypto because I think it'll go up over time. If that's what you want to do, do it. But if you are going to make an investment or make a trade that could come with life-changing gains, expect and anticipate that you could have life-ruining results. You know what I mean? And that's just the only way. So it's crazy. It's just crazy to see at the state of the market right now.
You can also have life-changing gains with a small investment.
Yeah.
See that like those gains come and watch them go because of nothing more than greed. And like I have this conversation almost every day with different people, right? And it's like, yeah, well, it's going to this number, like exactly like the Dogecoin millionaire, right? It's like,
we're going to talk about him after you get done, because I want to bring him up. I literally just wrote a note to talk about him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can segue into it, but like it's like that it blows my mind. He would still be the Dogecoin millionaire, and no one, like, why wouldn't you take some profits off the table, put it into something else, put it into a different type of investment, right? Like, you made life-changing, you did it, you became the Dogecoin millionaire, but yet you didn't take any money off the table. And yeah, it might go back there. But again, it all goes back to that stress, right? Maybe he doesn't feel any stress because he genuinely believes it, but just as an example, we've seen the same with hype coins. I have a friend, I've told you guys about it. I won't mention his name or the coin, but he put in, around $15,000 into this coin that he believed in. It went up to $500,000 and then he didn't sell it. He's still holding to this day. And it's like, whether or not it comes back, you should, in my opinion, you should be taking profits. Like it just doesn't, just take profits on the way, and then you still have your bag, your moon bag to ride whatever happens in the future. But my point is, you can still make life-changing gains with that small amount of money, right? Without being over leveraged and then not being greedy. Like it all really goes back to that, and not being greedy and then enjoying that stress-free life, right?
I completely agree. And with the Doge millionaire, that story drives me crazy, because it is a story that like financial media covers, and I covered it too on my channel, so like I'm no better, but trust me, the hypocrisy is not lost on me. But it's not a story about clever investing. It's a success story about a lottery winner, basically. And everyone's looking at him and they're like, okay, well, I want to invest like him because I want that result. It's like, no, that's not an investment story. He won the lottery by making terrible investment decisions. And this is like what I talked about in some of the live streams we've had in the past, like about resulting versus decision making. His decision making was terrible, literally terrible, in my opinion. But his result was fantastic. But if you were to roll that dice, play that situation out 9 times out of 10, it would have resulted probably 95 times out of 100. It would result in a really bad result. But he just happened to get a great result from really poor, faulty decision making, in my opinion. And it's just not an investment philosophy that I think that people should be looking towards as a model of how they should invest in their own life. I think he over leveraged himself to put it into a way more than speculative, coin. It's just like just all bad decision making processes. But it turned out a fantastic result. It's almost like if you run a red light and don't get hit, you would never say, "Oh, that was a great decision to do that." Like, that's a great result. Terrible decision making process that I did.
Fantastic. I think the thing is with him is he would argue that in the same way that I have fundamental belief in Bitcoin, right? It doesn't have a utility. It's not gold. Like, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you can have the argument with me that it isn't worth anything, which is, your opinion. But he would have the same argument with Dogecoin, right? He wouldn't say it was a lottery ticket because he did his research. He decided that because of, everything around that coin, it's going to go up, and it did, right? So it's like it's a hard one. It's a wild one. But even if I take profits from Bitcoin. I believe in Bitcoin. I take profits from Bitcoin so I can buy more Bitcoin. Whether if it goes up, if it breaks past its resistance now and confirms that it's breaking out, I just buy it back. Like it's just like
another error that I see is not only is there over leveraging, but there's over commitment. And I think that's a struggle, because people, whenever we talk about decision making, people also tend to neglect the fact that they can be wrong. And that it sucks to admit it, but sometimes we can just be wrong. We think a crypto is going to do this. It just simply does not. And I think that people get so caught up in their just hardcore belief in something that they will truly ignore fundamental changes. You know what I mean? Like if you invest in something and there are no fundamental differences at all and you still believe in it, I can't blame you. But some people love a company or love a crypto so much that something will change fundamentally and they're just like, oh, it's fine. You know what I mean? Because they attach their emotions to it a little bit too much. So I feel like just as much as over leveraging can stress you out, over, I guess, loving a project or over loving a crypto or loving a company, a stock, whatever, can also have that same effect, because you're so delusional, and not in a mean way, but just in a nicer way. Like you're delusional about the fact that you might have just been wrong with your decision. You know what I mean? And that's something like I have to look at. I assess all my investments and think, okay, was I wrong? That's something I ask myself all the time. Was I wrong? And if I don't think I was wrong, I hold it. But if I was wrong because something fundamentally changes and it's different from why I invested initially, well, then maybe I just got to take my loss and get out before I lose too much because I'm overcommitted. That's just something I see, at least pretty often.
I want to cover the stories of everyone that took out $180,000 like the Dogecoin millionaire did and put it somewhere else, and then see those stories. Like let's cover some of those stories and see those people that have to get freaking 3 jobs now just to pay back their over leveraged selves. I mean, good Lord, if he took out 180K, what did he? I would have to assume it's probably on a 5 percentage points at minimum, at max the 12 percentage points. Like there's no way on a 60K salary he'd ever be able to even service that freaking debt that he took on. Like he would literally be cash flow negative every month, and he'd have to declare bankruptcy and or increase his income.
the most wild thing, I don't know if he did. I assume he didn't sell anything, right? I'm pretty sure he had savings as well. So like the credit that he got was not 180, it was some other number, right? Because he had savings. But the most crazy thing about the story for me isn't that he didn't sell at 2.5. Like selling your initial investment right when it doubled, you know, who cares how high it goes from there? Just get that initial investment out and you're literally safe. And then right. Again, sorry to tie it back to the stress-free life. You get your initial investment out, you put the money that you saved your whole life back in your bank, you pay off the credit card, and boom, you're still, in your opinion, you know, he thinks it's going to go to $10 or whatever. You'll still be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like, right. How is it? It's just so crazy. And if it drops, you can buy more.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised he had all that in the first place, because if he's willing to put 180 grand, maybe just something switched like right then. Because I feel like if you have 180 grand to throw into something and you are putting it all in one stock or one crypto or one stock, like you've probably done that before. And I'm surprised, or he sounds like he hadn't done that before, but I'm surprised that he had that much to throw at it, honestly.
So for the people watching, including myself, I'm not very familiar with that story. So, I mean, is this a random dude who just threw money into it and say YOLO and it worked out for him, or you know what was that about? Because I'm not actually that knowledgeable about that situation.
He sold everything and took on loans or credit or something to put 180 grand into Doge, and it went up to like 2.4 million or something like that at one point.
I mean, it works sometimes.
But do you got Da Vinci? Remember, he sold his house to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Is that the guy I've been seeing all over the internet, or he's like he told people to buy $1 Bitcoin like 10 years ago or something? He's been blowing up. I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, imagine that. That would be great. Why didn't I do that?
You know, and there's also like there's a level of, well, I'm not familiar with that story, Connor. I was trying to pick it apart, but I don't think I'm familiar enough to to pick it apart. What is that story?
Someone sold their house essentially for a Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, so he sold, from my limited understanding, he sold his house to buy as much Bitcoin as he possibly could, and obviously now he's like mad rich, son.
But yeah, I mean, but like I would never look at a lottery winner and be like, that I'm gonna follow their investment advice. You know, I'm gonna follow Suzanne from Clearwater, Florida's like investment advice because she won $30 million off of spending every paycheck she's had on the lottery over the last 20 years. Like it's just not replicatable.
She sold her home and got into credit card debt to go buy 250 grand worth of lottery tickets and then won.
Exactly. Like no one would ever be like, oh, that's financial media that we should cover that story. You know, like it's just like it's novel and unique and interesting and plays, you know, really into the trending topics of the time, but it's just such a bad narrative to.
Well, I bet if you took all of the stories of people who did something very similar, like you said, take the stories of all the people who did something similar and put themselves at such risk and gave them the same amount of exposure as like the Dogecoin millionaire got, I guarantee you that the narrative would look a lot different. You know what I mean? That people would probably look at me like, that was the lucky guy of this entire group of people who made a stupid decision. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It's you know, I think there are some people, like if you look at certain people who had a gut feeling, right? You look at this crypto, you look at this project, you're doing your TA, you're doing your combination, you're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and you come to the conclusion, I'm going big on this thing because I truly just believe it for this reason, and then it does it. Fair play. You know, that was a fantastic investment. But if you're just kind of YOLOing it in, like, oh, Elon's tweeting about it, we're just going for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily gonna follow your follow your advice too much.
And there's a guy in my chat, Misfits, shout out to you. He comments on every one of my videos. Much appreciated. But he's a Dogecoin bull. So I don't know if he just tuned in after what we were saying. I promise we weren't talking badly about Dogecoin. It wasn't us. It wasn't me.
Oh yeah, no.
You can sub in Dogecoin for anything, right? Like we could just sub that for anything. It was just like a flawed decision to over leverage yourself. But like, you know, if someone wants to do that, that is what's great about crypto, is that it's an unregulated market and you can do whatever you want to, right? It is your money. You don't need a Series A. You don't need a accredited investorship. You can just do whatever the heck you want to. And like, that's what's beautiful about the market. So like, I love the choice more than I care about that person, in my opinion, making a bad choice, but just the fact that the choice is there is beautiful, and that's the market that I believe in for the future. So
absolutely,
I'm here.
Well, guys, I know we are approaching right at an hour now, and I know we do typically like to open this thing up for some questions towards the end. So if y'all maybe we want to do like one question each from our chats for the next maybe like 10, 15, and then we I know we try to keep it an hour and 15. So if you want to go ahead and do that, that'd be about right on time or so. But Steven, I agree 1,000,000%, man. It's like, it's the freedom, right? It's the freedom to, if you want to lose all your money, you lose all your money on your own, you know? But hey, if you can make it, you can make it all on you. So that's sick. Okay, let's see. So what we're going to do, folks, is if y'all want to go ahead, y'all can send in your questions, and then we will all pick a question just from our chats. We'll go over it. We probably won't be able to go super duper in depth into detail on each and every one, because it's almost Connor's bedtime. You know, he needs his beauty sleep. But I know we're gonna try to get to it. So go ahead and drop your questions, and we are gonna get into this.
Before we do that, I've gotten so many comments on my video yesterday that I posted telling me that I need to sleep and go to bed. Like literally, probably about 30 different people.
You literally do need
really
to sleep.
tired.
No.
I used to get that all the time, Steven, like literally every video, just because I'm monotone. I used to get that all the time. This is high energy compared to a year ago.
Yo, okay. Like people would comment on my videos all the time because my eyes are red in my first video of the day, and people would call me like a druggie. They'd be like, Tyler, dude, like you need to stop smoking before dinner. I'm like, it is 4:45 in the morning. Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do by my eyes? I'm tired.
Seriously.
I got the same stuff too. People don't realize we're up at like 2 a.m. Like most people done every 9 to 5. We're just like 7 till 4. 7 a.m. till 4 a.m. We're just going to town on videos.
I fell asleep editing the other day and just like woke myself up by falling into the keyboard. I was like, what is this what post 30 looks like? Anyway. All right. So I have a question here. It was what would you do? Where is it? I kind of lost it. Oh, what were you do? And we'll just keep this one quick, but we can all go around and answer if you want to. What would you do? Wait, Dogecoin millionaire, what would you do with the money?
Like if I had Doge, like what would I do in his position?
Let's just say you leverage yourself 180,000, and then now you're sitting on profits of 1 million.
Take my initial investment. Wait, no, I would have sold it all. No, there's no doubt about that. Like, do you mean like with the profits, or what would I have done if it went to 1 million?
If you had leveraged yourself 180 and then it's now at 1 million, what are you doing with the money?
Like if I had the goal of 1 million, because that's where I thought it would go, then I'd sell it everything at 1 million. I'd take the money, the 180, put it back in my bank, pay off whatever I need to pay off. Then I'd buy 50% Bitcoin and put the rest into real estate.
Okay, cool.
I can't even. I would say probably like I would do very close to the same. Like where I would allocate the money would probably be a little different. I would say the only reason I would take it out of Dogecoin specifically is I'm just big personally on investing into these projects that have more like just use cases in general. Like that's why I'm not even super heavy into Bitcoin itself personally. Like I'm more into Ethereum and ADA and everything, just because I think real world use that there is more application. So I'd probably put a larger amount of allocation to that. Real estate, fighting career, something like that. But yeah, I'd probably do a little bit. But since Doge is what got me to that point, I would probably keep a little bit in the Doge just because, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I am.
Yeah.
You know, I don't sell the whole thing.
Because you're loyal.
Yeah, lower committed.
maybe like keep 10%. But also on my other than buying real estate, it was what we were talking about, Steve, and I would totally put as much as I could. I'd buy some Bitcoin, but I would also buy Tether at the moment, put it into BlockFi and stake it, because like it's unbelievable. Even crypto.com, if you have I think 50,000 Crow coins, you can get like 14% if you lock up your USDT for 3 months. It's wild.
Yeah,
the returns are insane right now, and we'll get back to answering the question if you want to, Sam, to answer it on your side. But the returns on staking is insane. Beats out my best investment right now is 4 short-term rentals on Airbnb. Right, they return somewhere around what you're getting on staking, just without all the without property managers, without tenants, without having to replace things. I mean, my CapEx expenses, for those that don't know, basically like your repair costs, is significant. I mean, thousands of dollars every month sometimes, and that's having to. I wouldn't mind spinning it, but you have to call people and deal with them and then get pictures to make sure they did it right and then hold people accountable and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not your freaking boss. Like, I don't want to be your dad. Like, I'm not here for that. I just want my money to like bring back more money. So like
you own the properties?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's not rent for rent or whatever.
What's up?
It's not rent for rent. We call it rent for rent in England, but like where you rent the property and then put it on Airbnb.
Oh, but it's a fantastic idea. I would highly encourage people to do that if they can.
With you owning the properties though, you're on top of what you're making monthly, you're also making the capital gains on the property, right? Like the appreciation. Yeah.
Appreciation. Yeah. For right now, since it's appreciating wildly, and there's depreciation too, that I take on the taxes. So you take whatever it would depreciate in 30 years and divide that up, and then you take that off your taxes every year. So taxable wise, it's a good move. But dealing with the headache and stuff like that is not, it's just not my investment philosophy. Like I want to be relaxing on YouTube 24/7, live streaming my life like the Truman Show. Like that's what I want to be doing. Like I don't want to be answering phone calls from tenants asking how to work a Roku. Like stop. Like knock it off. I don't care. Figure it out. Google it. YouTube it. I'll make a video. But when you're actually thinking about other investments, right? You have to think about it in its entirety of what's the time commitment here. Everyone's like, rental property is great, passive income. Like there's nothing passive about that income at all. But with tethering and staking, that is actually legitimate passive income. You click a couple buttons and then you don't think about it. I think people are sleeping on it, and my coffee's totally kicked in, as y'all can tell. But I think people are sleeping on it, and also like it's probably the best passive income that I have seen right now is like what you were talking about, Connor, about staking.
My only reservation on it, like I got two reservations, right? One, it just seems too good to be true, right? Because it's a stable coin. Like, it's not going to go down, and maybe it goes down to 99 cents, but like, it's not going to go down unless like Tether gets taken down by, the SEC or whatever they do, right? But like, whatever the stable coin is, that's most likely not going to be the issue. The second issue would just be, surely these interest rates are going to go down. Do you know what I mean? Like, surely you can't be giving out 9%. Or what is it? What's it on BlockFi? It's like 9.7%
right now.
USDT.
They're giving a bonus.
It's like, it's what wild. Like I'm currently because the plan is still to buy the flat, right? And it's like, I'm like, should I just put my money into USDT and put it into BlockFi? And it's just like, why would I not do that, right? Like, while we have this opportunity, it just seems like the obvious thing to do.
Yeah. I think there is a grab for it right now though, because there's so many new clients out there that everyone's willing to pay a little bit extra at first to get them long term. Because especially if all these places are bullish on crypto, so if you have 300 grand in gains on some app and you can't transfer it out, like that's really beneficial to them. So they're willing to pay you a couple $100 in interest now, at least in my opinion. They'll lower it, but
But that's the thing,
for sure.
Go ahead,
Sam, what did we get this? Oh no, Sam, what would you do? I forgot. Because I was waiting. I was curious because Sam has different ideas than most people. So what if you were the Dogecoin millionaire, what's your game plan?
Yeah.
What's your move?
So I'd sell.
So if you took a pay cut. No.
So I'd sell all of it. I'd put 400K away in BlockFi and maybe a couple other places too, to get the interest, just because 400 of it's going to be taxes, give or take. So I'm going to put that all in there. I'll get 10% throughout the year, give or take. So that'll be 40 grand until I have to pay taxes on it. Shout out to BlockFi. There's a link pinned in mine already. But I get that. So I'd have like 640 grand to throw wherever I want. I'd put, we'll say 600. I'd put 400,000 in more stable coin. So I'd have that. I can make 40 grand a year just in interest as a
stable coin.
What?
More stable coin.
Yeah.
You get a stable coin. You get a stable coin.
Yeah. So I would be making 40K a year on stable coin, at least until they lower it. Even then, I don't think they're going from like 9 or 10% down to like 6. I think it'd be like gradual. But then I throw 100 in crypto and 100 in stocks too. And I'd average into those over probably 3 or 4 months. I wouldn't want to go a year because I don't want to be buying Bitcoin at 300K.
Right.
So I'd be doing it over 3 or 4 months.
I mean, just imagine you got that million, you just put it into USDT and you stake it, and you're making 97 grand or 100 grand right now a year. And the most, like, I mean, this sounds like a plug for, I don't even have a BlockFi link in my thing. I'm just talking about it. But like, you know, they pay it weekly. The same on crypto.com, they play it weekly. So like the compounding effect of that is incredible. So even if it lasts a year, right? Like you're going to get a significant amount of money. And it's like, it seems wild. It seems like a crazy scenario.
My thing too is like, if like we talk about not timing the market, but we all do it to a certain extent, right? We all dollar cost average, but we also try to time it in like the week or month spans or something, or at least a lot of us do. If you could put the majority of your money in there until there was some crash, because like that's the whole point about not timing it, because you don't know when the crash is going to happen, and they're always higher lows, at least over the long term. But if you could be like, okay, well, I am putting 50% of my money in something that it's guaranteed to appreciate at 9 or 10% a year, like that would be awesome. Like if you just had a breaker where, okay, if the stock market falls 50% or real estate falls 20%, I'm going to go buy and I'll convert it all over. That would be insane. Like that, it's like a cheat code.
Yeah, totally. It does seem, it's great.
Well, if you think about it, like sorry, I'm responding to like one thing. If you look at like everyone always looks at like Warren Buffett as like the quintessential like investor, but what people don't know is that what he did can't really be replicated right now and hasn't been able to be replicated for a long time. But the basic concept of buying something with float can. So float is, for people that don't know, think of things like insurance companies. So an insurance company will take Tyler's premium that he'll pay me every month, and I'll put it into a big account. And with that account, I will go and invest in other businesses because I'm not really using it right now because Tyler didn't have a car accident or whatever. So I can use that float money to invest in other places, but I have to have like a little bit still allocated for whenever Tyler needs it or whatever. So this is also prominent in like gift cards. There's float in gift cards, and there's float in banks. Banks have one of the best business models for floats. So this is what you're seeing with the staking. That's why you can get these insane returns, because you're basically, they're using your float to do whatever it is they do, like nodes mining, you know, lending out, whatever that current platform does. But that's why it's just insane, because we don't see it, because the banking system right now is like, so there's brick and mortar cost, there is, you know, staff cost, and they're taking that profit. Now we can see that traditional profit that they're making off our float. We can see it in like staking, which is why I get really excited about it, because it's just not an opportunity that like people have had traditionally without having, you know, buying a freaking insurance company or buying American Express or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I didn't even like remotely think about it like that. So big shout out to you. I'm not having to pull the good old notebook out here, boys.
we out here learning. We out here learning. I got a question that's just like not crypto related, but I thought it was interesting. It just came up in the chat. Kevin Jones, how did the four of you guys meet? I mean, it's a very a long windy road. We've known each other for many moons. But how did we meet?
Okay, so I met Sam last November. Sam is my financial friend. I met him last November, right after I had a surgery. And I had actually quit my YouTube channel, everything like that. I met Sam like right around that time, and then like he was hustling like 4 or 5 videos a day, so he motivated me to keep going. So I started going, and then that's whenever like the whole penny stock stuff started to come around, and then I started posting about HCMC. And while I was posting about HCMC, I came across Steven's channel, and I was like, "Oh, this dude's funny. He's kind of, he's kind of old, but he's funny." And I was like, so I shot him a message. I shot him a message like, "Yo, like this HCMC stuff is crazy right now." So we started communicating, and then I was live stream one night, and Connor, I had to watch Connor's videos for months. And he dropped in my stream. I thought it was a troll. Like I saw a message in the comment section, like, I don't remember what you said, Connor, but you said something. I was like, dude, somebody's pretending to be Connor Kenny. I'm like, who is this? Get a life, And it was really him. And I wasn't fanboying because I hate Connor at this point. But like at the time, I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I shot him a DM. Then we talked that night. And then like literally 2 days later, we were all just in a group chat. So it was kind of like a little weird puzzle pieces that ended up just all coming together at once.
If anyone wants a good YouTube friend, Tyler's the person to go to. Like Tyler's the connector. Tyler, like you're really the connector. You're the
centerpiece,
the nucleus of everything. Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, Tyler's a great YouTube friend.
The plug. I had a
you're the plug with your red eyes.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I had a funny question. So I know we don't have much time, so I have a funny question here. It says, should I buy more SafeMoon or should I sell my profits and use it to marry my wife or marry my girlfriend? I say stick to the SafeMoon.
Same. What is that book that I was reading? It says if it flies, fornicates, or floats, just rent it. Don't buy it.
Right. Yeah, I'm going with the SafeMoon. I feel like SafeMoon won't break your heart. Sam, you got any interesting questions before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Yeah, we can do like a quick one here. Is there anything you guys are interested in, crypto or stock right now, or do you kind of sit on the sidelines? I know personally, I've been holding off buying a lot this last week. Last weekend, I bought some crypto, but everything has kind of bumped off the bottom in growth stocks and in crypto like 10 to 50%. So I'm just kind of waiting because I put a lot in. So I'm just waiting for now. But what are you guys doing?
I'm personally eyeing XRP like really, really close right now. Like really, really close. Like that'll probably most likely that'll be the next one that I bring to the portfolio. Just because things are starting to look up for XRP. I think XRP missed out basically on the whole bull run for the most part, just because of all of the FUD, the lawsuit, the SEC, all that. But at this point, it honestly just looks like the SEC just trying to reach. Like it seems like they're just reaching for the stars, hoping they grab something. And it doesn't seem like it to be the case. And I think the more good news comes out about everything, with the lawsuit, I think we could truly see XRP diverge away from what, even if altcoins or Bitcoin is falling, I wouldn't honestly be surprised whatsoever to see XRP gain some momentum and regain some of the traction that it missed out on over the bull run. And so that's like, I'm keeping a close eye on the technicals because technicals on the short term, they're not looking the most, they're looking very neutral, I would say. But catalyst wise, there's a lot of bullish things coming. So that's like the big one I'm on right now. It'll probably be in my portfolio very soon. Very, very soon.
Stocks wise, I think last week or maybe the week before, the last stock that I bought the last stock that I added to was Virgin Galactic because we're going to space. But that was just small. But like I wish I bought way more because it's like absolutely flown. But with the cryptocurrency market, it's we're in choppy times, right? We're in super choppy times. So I'm being really conservative with anything that I'm buying. I haven't bought anything, I think, in a week since I took some profits when we had a pump. Because I didn't try. Like the thing is, I took profits from my long-term holds because I'm so significantly up on them that I wanted to like practice what I preach, right? And it's like what will make me the least stressed if we go down, and that's if I have a significant amount, 20% of my portfolio is on the sidelines, and then I can buy more. So my long-term holds, my favorites are Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, Solana, XRP. And a few others, but I'll be adding to them as we do. If we have flash crashes again, I'll be adding to them. And then the flash crashes are a perfect opportunity. It's super stressful, but they're a great opportunity to like buy in because like if it happens super fast, it will probably, if we like have another dead cat bounce, for example, it will probably come back up and you can take profits, right? Obviously not financial advice and like massive risk involved, but like every time we've had a flash crash, we've at least pumped 50% or 30% from that super pain point. You know when it is. When you're in like the most amount of pain. Like that's when you bite the bullet, right? I think I bought Solana at that exact moment where I was like, no, I've just lost like literally half of my portfolio gone. And I was like, I have to do this. I bought because I've been waiting to buy Solana. I bought it on the first dip. I bought it again on the second dip, and then that huge one came, right? And I was like, right, I'm just going to do it. and it's up even now when we're dipping up like I think 60 or 50 or 60%. So it's like, you know, it might be different now. I haven't checked the charts, but like, yeah, it's a great time to buy. But yeah, anyway, not at dip points, like not at flash crash points. I haven't bought anything. I haven't bought anything at all.
That's another great utility that I don't think we hit on about USDT or anything that's paying you 10%. Like if you take profits in it and you miss out on crypto gaining, just think about it as like an index fund. Would you be pissed off if you had like 10K more in an index fund and crypto went insane? Probably not, because you still have crypto exposure. So you can't really complain if it's not like, if you're getting 10% APY on it, that's still nice to, even if you're missing out. But
just having it's a divert, like, you know, staking can become another, like, no, it's not another asset class, but like another way to diversify your entire portfolio, you know, crypto, stocks, real estate, and then, you know, it's still crypto, but staking your stable coins. It's like, that's a whole nother option for you to have slightly less risk, right?
Yeah.
Steven?
What, are you buying anything, Steven?
Stable coins, yeah.
I literally thought that once we had this conversation, I'm like, oh yeah, I have extra money I need to throw into my BlockFi account. But
yeah.
So are you buying stablecoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It makes sense.
Stephen, as a real estate man, what do you reckon? Do you reckon I should get a flat or a house or an apartment or whatever you guys call it? Can't keep up with your lingo. Or shall I put the cash in the stablecoin and stake it?
You know, honestly, I think there's a really good case for the staking right now, you know, and if I want to try it out some, so we can do like a small test run or whatever. Maybe we'll let's throw a couple G's in that and make a YouTube video about it and just to kind of process. But so I mean, it really is juxtaposing it to an actual physical property. There's a lot of benefits to just a quick online play. Go ahead. Sorry, Tyler.
Oh no, I was just curious. So I know we don't have too much time, but so like whenever we're talking about that, what are the risks associated with it? Just for people who may not know, like what are the, say if you had to, whenever it comes to just staking or what y'all are more considering right now, what are there any general risks, like things you need to pay attention to, things to look out for, or anything of that nature? Or is it more of just right now it's just a good little extra thing with minimal risk?
I think it'd be a good video to actually make and to dive into every single thing, because the different platforms are kind of have different pros and cons to them. But kind of, I think that.
Yeah, I think the majority of your risk is based around trusting the given exchange with a substantial amount of your money, right? Like, you know, when you have your money in the bank, you get essentially zero interest, right? Like, let's not sugarcoat it. You get nothing in return. And like, but at this point in time, I'm going to trust, you know, some 100-year-old bank. I mean, now I'm saying it out loud. I still would trust it more, you know, like just instinctively, I would trust it more than putting it into some exchange that's been around 3-4 years, you know. So the exchange going down, going bust, being hacked, those sort of things are the main concern. And then also whatever the stable coin is, because every stable coin is essentially a company, right? Coinbase or Tether or Binance, whatever the stable coin is. So again, you've got the risk of that company going down, whatever it is, you know, you know, so those are really the main risks, right? And then also the opportunity cost.
Sorry, but you also have to think, with like a basic savings account or checking account and like a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you're insured by the government, you know, up to, what is it, 120,000, something like that. And you just don't get that here. There's no FDIC heading in the crypto thing. So I like looking at it like what happened with Coinbase, right? It was Coinbase that sent out the Bitcoin instead of the referral thing, right?
BlockFi.
BlockFi. That's right. And so they have enough, you know, they just raised $350 million. So they have enough money to service, to deal with it's like a blip on their radar. It really wasn't even that much on their balance sheet. So they'd be able to do it. But with a smaller company, that could have crushed something. That would have absolutely wiped them out completely. And everyone's money would have been gone. So I think Connor brings up a fantastic point about the size of these companies that you're going to stake with and have stewardship over your money to make sure they have the liquidity and the capital funds to service something had it go wrong. And that doesn't even mean they will do it, but you would just assume that it'd be worth more for them to fix the problem than it would for them to bankrupt themselves or whatever. And just,
so it seems like almost it's a relatively less hassle, but a little bit more incurred risk.
Yeah.
Just for the thing. But I mean, as there is with anything, right? So that's interesting. I think that's definitely, especially during times like these, like that could definitely be an option, something to consider, especially while we're seeing things so choppy. Like, hey, take advantage of something more stable right now while we're waiting to see where the market goes. Because right now, I'm sitting on 70% cash, honestly. Like I have 30% in comparison to, say, if it was like 100,000, which is not. Say if we're talking about 100,000 right now, 30,000 of that is invested into cryptos, 70,000 of that is cash. Because I'm just like, I've been doing small trades. Like I've made a couple $1,000s over the last few weeks just within these little moves, these swings, because they're easy to predict, right? But then you have moments like Elon, and then you have your stop loss to get activated, and it screws you. But other than that, like taking advantage of something a lot more stable like that pays out weekly, you can take advantage of it, especially while we could be seeing consolidation for who knows how long. Could be a good play. I like it. I'm glad y'all brought that up because it's something I'm even not too educated on. So
I had all my home savings in stablecoin for a while. Like everything that I was paying for my house, over 6 figures, I had in stablecoin on BlockFi. And it was nice to see that go up like $50, $60, $70 a day. It was so nice.
See, I was actually gonna say that because
no, it shows the accrued interest. BlockFi pays monthly, but I could see the accrued interest. And it was only on there because I was like, we got the house kind of suddenly and I need to pull it back out. But I got all the money out in like 2 or 3 days. And I made like $1,000 or $1,200 just from like the couple weeks I had all of it in there, which was nice.
Yeah. See, that's my predicament right now. I'm buying a house in September, and so I had my down payment and all of that like ready to go, but I had that sitting in a bank account. I was like, you know what? No, like I moved it over to M1 Finance. I put it into VOO. Like I was just like, if it accrues any interest, if it grows at all, sure, I can take a little extra, whatever. But I'd rather just do that than a bank account. But now I'm like, shoot, maybe I'm, move a little bit over to.
Now that you mention M1 Finance, obviously I don't have access to that because I'm not one of you people, but Americans. I saw a post, maybe it was on Reddit or something, but he took out. Can you take a loan on M1 Finance?
Yeah, I have one right now. Yeah. It's awesome too.
Yeah, so he took out that loan, and the interest made is lower than whatever staking platform he's on. So he took out the loan. Let's say it's 100K, and the interest is 4%. Took out that loan, put it. This is not financial advice. Do not do this. Put it into whatever the staking platform was, and is getting, let's say, 10% or 7 or 8, whatever, and he's making that 4% profit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Is that an infinite money glitch?
Arbitrage. It's amazing. And there really is that. There's things like that in the crypto market right now because it's so new, right? And like there's arbitrage opportunities for sure. Tyler, how are you buying your house?
Probably just
spot, but you don't have to answer. Like you're buying a house just in like
Yeah. So we're gonna do we'll more than likely have to do a cosign just because I don't have two years of employment history in this field because I went from being a manager at a retail store in a mall to being on here, so it's all weird, and it's something that I've only been on really getting paid from YouTube for 6 months now, so we're gonna have to do a cosign more than likely just from one of my parents, and then in the future we'll do a refinance on it once I have all the criteria and everything met. But yeah, that'll probably just be what we do for now because my parents don't care.
Is it a multifamily house or is it a single family house?
Single family.
Have you thought about doing a multifamily?
No, the only reason I haven't is because in my area, there's just not many, to be honest. Like in the Lafayette area, Lafayette, Youngsville, Broussard, like that surrounding area, this is really not many. Because I used to look, especially when I was like big into Graham Stephan and looking at, duplexes and house hacking and all that stuff. Like I was looking, but there's really just not much. And for me to be able to really find that opportunity, I'd have to go so far away and I train here and everything, it'd probably just be a little bit of a hassle. You know what I mean?
Is it a fixer upper or is it like already ready to go?
We're looking at a few and they're pretty much all ready to go.
Okay.
Because it's more of like a neighborhood, like 2 neighborhoods that we're targeting where everything's pretty much being like ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
man,
that's that. We're gonna try to do that by September, or like towards the end of September. That'll be pretty interesting. That'll be sick. I'm excited. I don't want to cut grass though, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. So
I'm not looking forward to that either.
My God, just hire someone, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm stingy. That's my problem. I don't want to cut grass, but I don't want to pay anyone to do it.
No, but you gotta do your opportunity cost, buddy. You got to know how much you make an hour. You know that.
So all about opportunity cost. Exactly. Yeah. Man, I can't believe how much.
Connor has a cook, a driver, and a foot masseuse, I think. And I was like,
they're there right now. Yeah.
Someone to read him bedtime stories.
You go. Yeah. Man, I don't know about your guys' stream, but mine is laggy. I don't know how I appreciate everyone who's stuck around. Mine's literally just glitching away on YouTube. Just glitchy McGlitcherson.
It may be me being the host, maybe causing lag. I'm not sure. Maybe next stream we'll try like having Sam host it. But I feel like since you're so far, you might have connection issues connecting your stream to Zoom to YouTube. So we might have to figure out an alternative.
Yeah, your Zoom is literally connected perfectly to me. So it seems weird, like why it would stream differently. Like I see you perfect, like there's no lag.
Yeah, we'll go through your settings. Also, I know you don't know how to read, basic like input, output, and bit rate and all that. So I'll help you. We'll get your glasses and everything.
I can't read.
But before we go back, or before we end this, I do have M1 Finance pulled up. I want to tell you guys how insane this is. Right now, they have a promotion for 2% interest. And you can pay back at any time, I believe, too. So you can take 33% of your portfolio out. So I have like a small dividend portfolio that's worth like $6,000 in there, but I can take out $2,000. And right now for $100, I have to pay 17 cents a month in interest. So it's 2% over the year, and there's no time when you have to pay it back by. It's insane.
Not financial advice.
Yeah.
BT dubs.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to find someone that I have access to that I can do that. Yeah. Steven's thinking.
I am. Yeah, no, I am thinking. Interesting. Okay.
And I have a link underneath my video if you guys want $30 for free. Just deposit $100.
Dude, did you just say a 30% gain? A 30%, dude?
Yeah.
Stock market is doing that.
You get a 30% gain just for depositing $100.
That's free cookies. That's free McDonald's.
Yeah.
Free cookies.
Oh yeah.
Some Starbucks right there.
Guys, we are looking right around about an hour and a half, so it is probably about time to go ahead and wrap that up. I'm very surprised that Connor is still awake at this point. He tends to get a bit grumpy around these times. It's almost like he takes like melatonin or something about 2 hours ago. But no, so we're gonna wrap this thing on up. And I know just a little thing. I'm going to personally be going out of town. I'll be out of town the next Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the next 3 weeks in a row. So be on the lookout for an announcement from us. We may have to switch days around. They'll maybe just kick me out the group and do it without me. You never really know. But definitely look for some type of
You're the glue. You're the glue to our
No one's gonna know how to freaking live stream without Tyler. We can't kick you out.
So be on the lookout for that. And that is gonna be about it for today. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna throw in some timestamps and I'll send it over to them. And be on the lookout for us next week with another episode of No Money Morons.
Money Morons.
That was fun. Okay, bye everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.